Y'all already know what it is. Your boy Yaakov, what it do? The outlet to reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago. What up? This is the place where you want to hide from your drama or maybe hide from your baby mama. Just kidding. But anyways, fans, thank you for staying tuned. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ching! And today we have a very special guest. It was so hard to get her. Give it up for Taramoon. What's up, girl?
How are you, hon?
Good. I'm so happy. Like I said, it's an honor to have you, girl. I'm just really happy to see you. And I don't even know when to get started, but I do want to share something real quick, even for my fans and people around me. So I did have an episode recently about one of my professors who studied Wicca. And for those who don't know, Wicca is a very old tradition. I love it because it's so many things, different rituals, traditions, and you can learn from it, to be honest with you. And today we have someone who studies who's a psychic, who also knows about tarot cards. So it's nice because it's a little different. It's a different specialty, which is amazing. And I believe everyone's gifted. So Tara, if I could ask you, tell us a little bit of your journey on how you started on being a psychic.
Oh, yeah. I'd love to tell you. I love it because I love what you said when you said that you believe we all can do this, because I'm a big believer. I know we can all do this. It's just all about elevating yourself and being open. So when I was really little, I was able to see people that weren't there. Oh gosh, I'm getting chills right now just because they're coming around. Sorry, it's a lot of energy. They always so I was always able to see people that weren't there, but I did not know they weren't there. So I would always kind of ask my dad, who's that woman? Who's that guy? And, he was just chalked it up to me having invisible friends, as a child. But as I got older, I was about 15 years old back in Borders. I don't know if you remember Borders bookstore.
Oh, but
yeah. It was a long time ago. They're still popular. And there was a section that was just literally all tarot decks. And I had never seen a tarot deck, but something pulled me into this aisle and I just knew kind of where to go. And I picked up this deck. I purchased the deck. And when I got home, I just laid it out and started reading cards. It was like completely downloading. Like I didn't have to study it. I kind of just ended up knowing how to do it. And then I pretty much stopped doing that for a little while because I came from a very religious background where my father was not okay with this, so he deemed it, evil and things like that. So I really wasn't able to be myself around my family and express things I would know about people, like sometimes when they would die, or when something's happening to somebody, or I'm seeing someone with someone, or I know what's going on, the drama in their life, and I just can't express it. Well, when I was older, I was about 27 years old, and I was in a packed club at a country bar out here. And there was this man, and there were voices that kept telling me to go to him. And I am not a person to go to people. I'm a very shy person originally. And I had to go up to him and tell him that his dead friend, they were military, both in the military, had passed on, didn't want him to blame himself for his death. And it just came to this whole thing and ended up being in tears. And I ended up helping him move on. And he texted me and he was like, I just, I didn't break up with my girlfriend like I was going to. I ended up begging for her forgiveness, and it's all because of you. And it was just kind of, for me, that was my opening to really exploring my gifts and being okay with being me. And then I did some classes, and everything just the floodgate opened. And what inspired me was really just my sister kind of saying, Tara, it's okay to be you. Like, it's really okay. And, you know, of course I'm a girl, so I'm crying at that point. But, you know, it's just been such a journey, and just doing all these different readings for so many people. And what I love about it mostly is we all go through the same journeys. There's so many similarities. And it's nice to know that when we lose somebody, they don't really like leave us, you know?
No, it's very true. And I love how you started with, you know, you knew you had a gift from the beginning. You knew it.
Yeah.
People didn't understand because they probably weren't in the same channel. It was the same. You're seeing like different dimensions, you know, different things. And
Yeah.
I gotta say, I one of my best friends, he told me a story I want to share with you, where
Mhm.
he basically was going through some dark times. He was very sad, and he basically went to a psychic, right? There was three women,
Yeah.
he said, that was there, and he said that they felt his energy, that they kind of went away from him, and
Yeah.
they brought out this little girl who was 12 years old, who was more stronger and spiritual, and they
Yeah.
hid behind her, and they let her do the work, and she was doing palm reading, and it was so cool because he said it's amazing how, you know, this young girl had so much, you could say, I guess her energy or something about her stood out, and it was a something he'll never forget. And that's pretty cool, because I'm gonna be honest, I've never, you know, been into a psychic reading. I never, you know, this is very new, and that's why I like to ask questions, because you learn, and that's a story I really like. And I do gotta share something too. I like to, this is where I'm gonna pick at your brain a little bit.
Please do.
So my background is a lot of people are they're new, you know, hearing this, but I'm actually Jewish, and a lot of
Me
people,
too.
for real, girl. Oh man, this is crazy.
Love it.
Now that's why we connected. There's something
Yeah.
there. Oh man,
To see each other.
that is
I
so
love
cool. So check this out. So in the Torah, it talks about, even the Tanakh talks a lot about magic. So one of the biggest examples of one of the greatest, you could say, at that in the Bible century was Balaam. Balaam is known to be one of the most, I guess, trying to put it in words. He was as spiritual as this, like high as
Mhm.
Moshe Rabbeinu. He, anytime he was to do a curse on somebody, he will ask God, and God will give it to him. And he
Yeah.
had that power. And going on in the story, if you go further down in the Tanakh, there's a part where Samuel, he already passed away, and King Saul basically lost the connection of reaching to God. Every time he prayed, God wasn't there for him because he messed up. And so what he
Yeah.
did was, you remember, and this is one of my favorite. He actually looks for a witch, and
Mhm.
he goes to his you know, to a room, and she said, "Do you have something that I can, so I can bring him back?" And he's like, "Yeah, I have his robe." So he brings the robe, and Samuel comes back in spirit, and you hear his voice, and it's like the coolest thing ever, because, you know, a lot of people think that Jesus was the one who was back the dead. I'm just saying, you know, you got people way before that, and it's just so
It's been
cool.
a long time. Jesus is not the first. I love that you brought that up, because that is something. I mean, I could go into hours of that conversation. So
Wow, but that's so cool. You're Jewish. I'm so shocked. You know what I'm saying?
that connection, I knew it was for a reason.
Yeah. Oh man. So you must have different, like, what's your thoughts? You know, the things I shared. What I guess, what can you what's your input about the things I share with you?
What's interesting about like kind of like what you touched on. So, where he had this power, and then, it's funny because like in the Jewish religion, like people always think like it's a strict like bop, 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 bop. But back in the day, this was not necessarily like heebie-jeebie type of stuff. This was just the norm, and that's something that's like really, I think, overlooked, you know what I mean? And like, Jesus is definitely not the first dude to have healing abilities, and it's gone for thousands and thousands of years. So I think you're completely correct with everything. And even that story, I think it's actually it's a beautiful story, and it's just not well known. It's like, I hate to say like Jesus has overshadowed, but even the story of Moses, a lot of stories have overshadowed that one. But I love that you brought that up, because I do believe that we can get our creator to assist us with literally anything. I 100% believe that. I think if you ask for the power to do something and you believe you can, it's completely possible. And that's why I think they call it, they talk about manifesting. That's just a different way of saying I manifested something into life. Like, I curse you because I believe in a curse, and then that person believes you curse them. So it kind of comes to pass. But, I think I love everything you just said.
Wow, no, girl. And another thing I gotta ask you, my fans actually, they sent it to me before I did the interview. One of their big questions is, was there a time that God spoke to you, or you felt like you had an experience? Because I feel like a lot of people, I heard this story. I gotta share this before you answer. There was a time this guy, he there was a pastor, he was just like, doing his own ceremony, and he was preaching, and this woman kept going up to him and said, "Can I pray for you?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, a prayer doesn't hurt." And he didn't hear what she was saying, and so she was praying. The next week goes by, and he goes, okay, he's doing the same thing. And the girl's like, "Can I kill you?" And he's like, yeah, that's fine. And then it went by a few months, and he's like, "Man, I gotta figure out what she's praying about." So he asked her, "Excuse me, I gotta ask you, what is the prayer you're praying about? Like, I want to hear it." And she goes, "Yeah, I'm basically praying that God can help me leave my husband for you." And so he got scared. He's like, "Look, you got to go back to your man. I am not the one." You know what I'm saying? I'm not the one. I don't think God told you, because that's wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, that's my little story. So what about you? I got to know your experience. I'm really curious.
Oh gosh, I love it. So I will definitely tell you, I have so many experiences. I mean, like I said, I could talk forever, but we'll keep it short. So I think the biggest experience is when I want to say was 25 years old, and I had kind of fallen away from God at the time. Like, I felt I was going through a really big depression, a big breakup. I was a mess. I was sad. I felt like I couldn't find myself. I didn't know who I was, without this man, I had all these traumas and stuff. And like I said, not being able to be connected to myself was already something I was struggling with. And so I had just went on my knees, and it had been years since I prayed. And I said a prayer, said, "God, please send me somebody to help me. Please send me some angels." And I envisioned like these two female angels. I just felt them around me. Oh gosh, again, the chills. And I get a ring on my doorbell, and it's these two missionary women who come in. There's these Mormon missionaries, and they're like, "We just felt the need to come to this home. Can we pray for you?" So it's interesting you talked about, can I pray for you? Because that was the story I was going to tell you. And I was like, I just started going, like, oh my gosh, thank you. So, he sent signs, but, a few days later, I kept getting my Bible, I had the Book of Mormon up there because they had, given it to me. and it kept falling down. No matter how many times I would put it back up, it would fall down and it would go on a specific page. And whatever I was thinking about, it would land on that exact answer that I was needing, or that exact passage, things like that. Prophet books, just every kind, all my books were just opening up. And then I started to hear his voice. And to this day, I now know it's his voice that I'm connecting with, because it's a very warm but deep voice. It's not like, oh, I'm God and this is how it's definitely not like that. I feel like for me, it's more like, it's a father that I've never known. It's this embodiment of pure love that it's just amazing.
Wow, that's beautiful. I'm so happy you shared it, because I feel like a lot of us, we sometimes miss those clues, like where God is revealing his true self to us, and we kind of ignore it. We kind of push it to the side,
Yeah.
I think a lot of times I 100% believe this, that when we feel like we're about to hit rock bottom, and the moment we feel like we know we did something wrong, like we feel guilty, I always hear the same from different people all over the world. They say the same answer. I tell myself, or I tell the universe, or I tell God, I'm not gonna do it again, ever again. This is time. They say the same. It's so weird. They say the same words, and I feel like everyone has that, like in them. Like, I can't believe I did this.
Yes, like we subconsciously know. It's like we know we're gonna we're disappointing our parents. We're just like, damn, I should have done that. I know you know that. I know you know what I did. But I thought it was
No, it's so true. It's so true. And girl, now I'm gonna ask you some hard questions. Now that you answer all of them perfectly, I loved it. Now, a lot of people asking me, a lot of my fans, they send me messages where they said, how do you feel if they're not spiritual, if they don't practice anything, but if they wanted to play the Ouija board in a graveyard, how do you feel about that? Is it dangerous, or is it like, I want to know your feedback? Because I'm not gonna lie, my friend invited me to his house and he had the Ouija board. I ran out because I got scared. You know what I'm saying? I ran out the house. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. There's a lot of lore about Ouija boards. I am not playing you. I did the Ouija board at a cemetery when I was, I think I was just fresh out of high school. And I had an experience where I was scratched on the leg. I was chased by something that we could hear it in the leaves chasing us out of the cemetery, and all of our candles blew out while we were doing it, trying to connect. So no one got possessed. There was no creepy thing, but all that was very creepy. I have, here's my thing about Ouija boards. I believe it's all about intention. If you're going to set the intention to speak to a specific person and ask for the angels, or, and again, you don't have to be spiritual, just ask for the universe even to protect you. The thing is, they can't really come in, bad spirits, let's say, they can't actually come in without an invitation. So you can't just be like, okay, here's the board, anyone can come in. Because then it's like the invitation, so you have to just basically set your standards. Only beings of pure light, only good intention can be allowed on this board. And normally if you do that, you will have actually a really fun experience. It will be a cool experience, because I've done it many different times after that. And as long as you're doing it, like I said, the right way, it's not an issue. So you don't have to be necessarily afraid of it. Just be careful with it. So if I hate to say this, but like a drug user, right, is using the Ouija board, his energy, because of drug use and whatever he's been on, it's going to download into the board itself. So it's going to invite more negative spirits. if that makes sense. So the more negative person you are, the more, energy you're bringing in.
Oh, now here's the thing. What if, and I don't know if this is true, but when I watched Paranormal Activity, remember that movie that was really big back in the
Oh, yeah,
days? And
definitely.
and they said that you can't burn it or throw in the water. That's what the two things I heard. I don't know if it's true. They said if you were to put it away, just put it away. But like, if you have to, like, you could put it in a cabinet or somewhere, but don't disrespect it. And I don't know if that's true. What do you think about that?
So it's interesting. The thing about the reason why they say about the water is water is a conductor. And if you already have negative spirits in that and you're putting it into a conductor, what does a conductor do? It amplifies. So it makes everything the spirits just go, and fire, the reason why they talk about, don't put it in fire is because it's actually, this sounds kind of ridiculous, but it is almost like an omen to the devil. It's like appraising, you know what I mean? Like it represents like fire is hate, fire is heat, fire is energy. So you're giving it more energy essentially. So you're conducting it with energy, and fire is pure energy. Whoa. So that's why it's a little weird. It's not because of like simple things, but simplified, that is what's going to happen when you do water and fire. Now it's kind of like if you wanted to do something psychic yourself, which I just wanted to tell you real quick, you get a bowl of water, right? You dim the lights, so you turn off the lights if you want, and go into the mirror, get a bowl of water and stare at this bowl of water and ask a question. And I promise you, you will see something in that bowl of water, or you will see a being, or whoever you're trying to technically conjure will go into that water bowl and you will see them. And it sounds weird, they'll go into the water bowl, but it's a reflection. And spirits can sometimes come in through reflections. And that's where you have that sorry Bloody Mary coming through the reflection, because mirrors are a natural gateway. So is water, and so is fire.
Whoa, that is crazy. It's crazy you said it, because my professor who's practices Wicca, he shared a story, not on the podcast, but with me, that in his room, he has to turn the mirrors because
yes,
some reason he has trouble sleeping when the mirrors are facing him. And he said like the bed will start shaking, but when he moves the mirrors, and he knows how to communicate with them, because he said they're not bad spirits. It's just he wants to go to sleep. He's like, I ain't trying to stay up all day. You know what I'm saying? Right. He's like, I gotta work tomorrow. I gotta go teach a bunch of students. But it's really interesting how mirrors, like you said, they have like almost like a channel.
They do. It's like a whole nother dimension. There's even rooms that people purposely actually build where they have mirrors in the front and mirrors in the back. And they do conjuring this way because it opens a portal.
Whoa.
Turn and look, and you can see this. It's a total portal. So I am like a little bit weird about mirrors. Like, I know everyone likes to decorate mirrors in their house, but because I have the dead around me a lot of the times, I don't do that because they would destroy me.
Oh, wow. No, that's really good. I'm glad. I'm really glad you shared it, because I got a mirror in my room. I'm gonna move it. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, move it. Never know who can come.
Right. No, it's really interesting. And you know what's cool too? I gotta share this. So this is really crazy. My mom, she adopted a lot of kids in my home while growing up. She adopted about 6 people. And growing up, we had one of the a kid that moved in. His name was Juan. I never forgot his name. And he told me that his gift was communicating with spirits. I remember one time we were sitting down across from each other, and he was telling me, like a story, right? About spirit.
Right.
And he started crying, like crying. His hair went up. I saw his hair went up. He said, "There's a spirit behind you." I said, "Bro, why are you doing that? I'm right in front of you." And so I got
Yeah.
I got a little scared. But he starts crying, and he's like, "Don't worry, it's not bad." But I got it. Got this. The spirit was kind of sad, and so he said that. And then when I got through time went by, he had this dream, right, about this little girl. So a little backstory. I remember he was saying growing up, like there was a shootout when he was a kid. Somebody was doing a
Mhm.
drive-by or something, and he heard a gunshot, and there was a little girl who was next to him with a white dress, and that's all he remembers. And then he woke up in the hospital, and that's it. And so he told me that story. I was like, okay, that's cool, man. Like, okay. And so I go to bed, right? I,
Uh-huh.
I have a nightmare, craziest nightmare. I'm in my dream, and some reason some church is like it looks like it was on fire, but like it
Yeah.
looked like it was already burned. And this little girl in the white dress, she was like, um, I could see like she was like sad or something. And so I woke up 3 o'clock in the morning. You know what they say about 3 o'clock? I was freaking out. I screamed. And then I said, "Stupid Juan." You know what I'm saying? In my head. You know what I'm saying? And so that happened, right? So check this out. I have a sister. She has two, she takes care of twins. We're only
Mhm.
like a year apart.
I feel her pain.
Right, right. She comes in. She's so happy. She's gonna have fun. She comes to the
Yeah.
house, and the twins go to the bathroom, and they say to my sister, Desiree, "Hey, Desiree, what's that little girl who's in the bathroom?" My sister goes to the bathroom, and it's a little girl with a wet dress. She screams, and she took the twins outside. She calls me crying. She's like, "Yo, there's a ghost in the house, and I don't
Mhm.
know what happened." And so she's telling me, and I'm adding the dots. And my mom always told me this: you got to be careful who you bring to the house, right? You never know what they bring. Crazy thing,
Yeah. Yes.
right? Am I right or wrong?
You're completely 100% correct. Oh, yeah. People bring everything with them. So you do have to be very careful who you let into your space.
Yeah, yeah. So now I'm cautious. Now I'm cautious. But the crazy thing, my mom and I family, we did our Shabbat, right? We gotta bless the house. You have to bless the house. When he left the house, right? He got his own place. Everything was going good for him. He got older. Um, we never had that little girl ever in the house.
So she's probably able to move on.
Yeah, yeah. So I thought I had to share with you because it's so
At least,
cool. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
She's like, you go. Fine. I'm going to crush somewhere else.
Right. But yeah, it's a crazy stuff. And what about you? Do you have any stories you can remember of like kind of like similar to that, but like where you encounter a spirit, right?
Oh, yeah. When don't I? um, that's a good one. You know what? I see them a lot of the times, actually, like kind of, it sounds weird, but on a regular basis, like when I'm at the grocery store, I'll always I kind of see them in mind's eye. They're always behind someone. Like usually someone has an attachment. And sometimes they'll come off like in colors, there's like a dark, very dark, and I know that's a negative attachment, not necessarily a person. Sometimes there's like a grandfatherly figure behind them, and they're like this, like And they're saying things in this, like, for instance, I was at Smith's 2 days ago and there was a man and he was picking up the apples. You know, my son was with me and we're getting apples, and his grandfather was in his ear, talking in his ear, and he kept going like this to him. And the guy kept going like this, you know, messing with his hair, where his grandfather was talking in his ear and trying to, basically was hitting him like, listen to me, listen to me. And it's very frustrating for spirits because they can't technically be heard. And so they are trying their best. And he looked freaked out. Like he just did not know what was going on, you know, and I could kind of see that he felt something was up because he kept turning, you know, and it's like, what do you say to that? You know, but I mean, he's clear as day. I remember seeing my grandmother before I found out she passed. She was just standing in my living room. And I mean, she looked like you do. Like she just was standing there, you know, and I was like, it was literally like, I think it was like 1:30 in the morning, you know, and I had gone out to get a water because I had woken up like just startled, like something just woke me up. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was having a heart attack. Like I felt like there was water in my lungs. And like, I have so many chills. I got out of bed and I saw her just standing there. And I got a call from my dad like that same minute. And he told me that she had passed away from pneumonia in the hospital after her heart attack. So it was just bizarre to see her, because sometimes spirits will present themselves full bodied, and other times it'll be like where you can just picture them, you know they're there, and other times as straight up color.
Whoa. So I feel like she was probably trying to say goodbye to you.
She was. And what's so interesting and funny about this, right? We were never close. We had a very strained relationship. So the thing is, because we're Jewish, my dad is Catholic, married a Jewish woman. She was very strict Catholic. So she did not like that we were Jewish kids, you know, that he married a Jew, you know, and she was an unkind lady. So when she passed over, I felt something unfamiliar. I felt a kindness. I felt like, I'm sorry. You know, I felt like a love I'd never felt when she was alive. And so, yeah, I do believe she was saying goodbye, but at the same time, it was amazing. The attack, like she was just free from her, like her hate that she had in life. Like it was such a, I get choked up, but it was just such a different feeling from her.
Wow, what a great story, girl. I love it. Well, look, I gotta wrap it up. This is the Outlet to Reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago every Tuesday. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ching! And y'all can find me on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, the Outlet to Reality. My TikTok is at Yaakov28, and my Snapchat is Take One Pass It. And my guest, where can my fans find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at psychictaramoon, or you can also get in touch with me via text message, and you can find that on Instagram.